It's time for some drums, and first up is the snare drum. Now you might recognise this because it usually, or most commonly, belongs in the middle of a drum kit. If a drum kit didn't have a snare drum, a lot of the songs we know and love would not sound the same. But actually, the snare drum has been around a long time, and it's a pretty important part of history, not just musically, actual history. This is true. Now, a while ago, a couple of hundred years ago, particularly in America, it was used as a call, as a signal to the soldiers out on the battlefield. You know, they'd be out there fighting. It was terrible back then. And they might hear something like this. You might hear something like that, and that could mean it's dinner or retreat or keep going. Hopefully they got the right signal and the right tune. So it was a call to tell them what to do. They didn't have mobile phones back then, so it was pretty important, Now, I've got this drum here because this is what snare drums would have looked like back then. They would have been, you know, decorated maybe in the regiment's colours. They would have had this rope here to tune it. It would have been made of wood, and the top would have been made probably of calf skin. And then the bottom would have been made of animals' intestines, the little snare there. Yeah, that's pretty gross, isn't it? Gross. Now, this drum here, this is the modern, more vegetarian equivalent. It's got a plastic head on the top. It's metal here. And then on the bottom, the snares, if you can see, they're made of metal. And they're the things that rattle. So if you turn it off, it sounds like this. Turn the snares off, sounds like this. Sounds like that. You turn them on. Sounds a little bit like that. Now, I think it's about time you lot did something at home. We're not doing anything. So let's all stand on our feet. Let's get on our feet. Okay? And let's do a little bit of marching. So, attention. Here we go. Not bad, but possibly a bit slow for Monday morning. So, should we go quicker? Let's go quicker. Here we go. Just about kept up. Now, the thing is, the snare drum also belongs at the back of an orchestra, and it can be pretty important in some pieces. And one of my favourite pieces, the snare drum plays the same rhythm all the way through, starting really quietly. And I love playing this in children's classic concerts because I get to roller skate at the same time. And here's the rhythm. It sounds a little bit like this. Sounds a little bit like that, and it gets louder and louder as the orchestra join in, and all the way through for about 17 minutes. Something a bit more enjoyable even to play is when you get to play really loud, like Mars from the Planets by Holst. You get to do this. And you get to do that for ages when it's a lot of fun. So that's pretty much some of the highlights of the orchestral snare drum. But now I think it's time for a 1-minute lesson. So here we go. This is how we hold the sticks. Hold it up like this. Put your hand around it like that. Put your thumb on the side. Wrap your fingers around. You don't have to put all of them round, but some of them. And be nice and relaxed. Don't grip it really tight. And you do exactly the same with both hands. Unless you play traditional, where you play like this. I wish I played like that. I just didn't practice enough. I should have. So I hold them like this, match grip. And then here we go. Here's the big secret. I'm going to turn the snares on. This is what we do. You hit it. That's it. You just have to make sure you hit it in time. Now, the hard thing to do is a long note, isn't it? Because you can't really get a long note like that. And, you know, it would be a bit limited if you couldn't do any long notes. So that's what we call a drum roll. Now, if you learn the drums and you're thinking, oh, my drum roll sounds rubbish, it might sound a bit like this. Just keep practicing, keep speeding it up. And then you'll be able to turn it into this, but in no time. So this is how I started out, like this. And then I just practice. So just keep practicing and it will suddenly happen, trust me. So, I think we might have learned a bit about this. We've had a bit of history. My goodness, please tune in. Don't let that put you off for tomorrow because it's time for my favourite of all the drums, the bass drum. See you then.